Hello.
Hello, Luca.
How are you?
Fine, fine, thank you.
Good, good. So we are here to talk about technology, case
Yes,
study,
a new case
project.
study. Yes,
Which one?
yes, yes.
Which one?
Last month we had 25 articles on floating point. It's
Mhm.
one of our best months recorded,
Good.
and we chose one from our office in UK.
Yeah.
We have Manoj, the Circle Leader of Sorrent UK, here with us.
Hi
Hello,
everyone.
Manoj. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good.
Thank you, Manoj, for having time for us today to discuss this case study in more details and put all Sorrentians all over the world in the picture of what Sorrent UK is doing.
Thanks,
So,
Mohab, indeed to give me a chance. Thanks to you and your team to share for allowing me to share this success story, the execution success with everyone. Thanks.
our pleasure. Of course, the case study is documented on floatingpoint.com, floatingpoint.sorrent.it. Please, you can read it whenever you want for all our viewers. And I understood from the case study, it's about a case study from a provisioning architecture to our orchestration architecture for a client's infrastructure and how he manages the VMs. Tell us more about this, Manoj, please, just to make sure our readers understand it.
Yeah, sure. So we got this project for a Red Hat customer. So we many times work for end customers for Red Hat. So this is a telecom domain customer. And the main pain point they were struggling with was that anytime a user had to order a new server, so for example, a payroll department has to try some new process to roll out some process, they need 10 servers, and whole process was manual.
No, sorry to interrupt you. If an HR department in this client's company wants to deploy a new software on the servers,
Yes, that's right.
yes, okay.
Thanks, Moab, for asking that. If I go too fast,
Yeah, I need to make sure everyone gets it. I had some moments with you to understand more about the project, and of course, I read the case study, so I want to highlight so we make sure they understand.
Absolutely. So before Sorrent went in there, the main the issue was it was taking too long and too much resource dependency. So, for example, if one resource in one department, I give the example of HR department, if it can be any department, any other normal department. So, if they order, say, 10 servers, those 10 servers were to be created by system admin team, then they were to be hardened by the security team, then the networking team it goes to for IP addressing, assigning the IP address from the pool, all manual, all this happening through email chains. So, you can imagine. So in the end, after hardening, it goes to the maintenance team for patching and stuff. So by the time it reaches the customer who is to deploy their application, it would be days, if not months. So
the traditional way of deploying on server, that was the case. That's the provisioning architecture.
Yes, that was the workflow.
That was before. Okay, so what was our requirement? What was the requirement that is asked from Sorrent's team?
So the requirement was the Sorrent implemented solution was to put in place a self-service portal whereby a user can say with a click of buttons, click next. Some of it was auto approved, but if they need more memory, more RAM, we had the provisioning of we had the provision of asking approval from the management. So that was there as well. This self-service portal we created using a bunch of tools, technologies. Their VMs were running on vSphere on-premise, VMware vSphere, and to orchestrate. I use the word orchestrate just to clarify that for everyone. They wanted to orchestrate VMs through this self-service portal. That means with click of button, those VMs would be created securely.
One portal, no matter where you are in the headquarters in another city of the client, Manchester or whatever, you have one portal. You can configure a new server with all the needed resources, and automatically all the process goes through the security if needed, the procurement if needed, the IT people, of course, when needed. Am I right?
Well, in terms of procurement, there was already the resources, CPU, RAM already available. But if new servers, if it reaches capacity, then you would know from the dashboard itself. Yes.
Who opened it as well? Which department? Because we're talking about a huge company with hundreds of departments, hundreds of branches. Am I right?
Yeah, well, 30, 40 departments, you can say. And we're talking about like a couple of thousands of servers being deployed on through this platform.
Deployed. Okay, this is to understand the scope. What technologies are involved in such a project? What do you need?
So initially, because they could not give access to VMware's dashboard directly to the users, that's why they would request different departments to create the servers, patch it, and give it to the end users, whereby end users will either SSH or RDP into the server.
Okay.
With the creation of the self-service dashboard, and I'll mention some timelines here. Sorrent went in. So as I remember, so Sorrent, the first day Sorrent went in, the self-service portal was created by our guys, Sorrent UK guys, within 5.5 months. So just under 6 months, we completed all the workflows. We did the assessment. Discovery, assessment, and implementation all under 6 months. What we did, so to answer your question about technologies, the technologies involved were a bit of Red Hat Cloud Forms, Red Hat Satellite for patching, and VMware vSphere for orchestration. The self-service portal would orchestrate, and the server would be created on VMware vSphere. And there was for automatic assigning of IP address and stuff, the technology was Infoblox, DHCP, DNS, and IP management. So with all these technologies brought together, and there was a mix of a bit of Ruby programming, for which we called our Ruby expert to do the programming.
Why? No, sorry. Why?
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Just to clarify, I think I want to add something, because this is under the topic of IT automation. So yes. IT automation is, the drivers are, let me say that are various. One is the lack of profiles, the IT profiles. So we need to automate everything, but also to short some processes that are taking long in providing resources or everything. And also to avoid errors, because the automation can avoid errors. That is very, very important right now, because the complexity of the infrastructure and so on. So it's also, everything is related. And you can use custom tools provided by cloud provider, for example, or open source tools, or standard and the market tools. You mentioned Red Hat,
Satellite.
Correct. So you can do it by tools, by programming with the tools, Ansible and so on. Or you can, and then you can, because Sorrent also wants to help the customer in custom, let me say, to customize something, because you need, every company needs some customization of the process, because they have their own process. And it's very important to develop in a clear way. And we have these capabilities now to help the customer to provide the last mile of the project, to automate something. This is very, very, very important.
What knowledge do you need for such a project, Manoj? What areas do you need to know for such a project?
We faced a couple of challenges. So we had good expertise in all the Red Hat tools, be it CloudForms, be it Satellite, be it Ansible, and stuff. Some bit of expertise we needed was the Infoblox, for integrating with the Infoblox DDI part for the networking, so automatically assigning the IP address, which was all manual. Network team would refer a spreadsheet, assign the IP address. So you can imagine how much manual work earlier was involved. And
the Ruby programming here was to script a code that would allocate IP addresses based on some criteria that is given by the client. Am I right?
Exactly. Yes. So that was the second expert we needed. So Infoblox and the Ruby expert.
So you said Red Hat, Infoblox, some Ruby programming.
Yes.
What else?
So yeah. So and of course, bringing this all together. So I mentioned, just to go back to the previous question. So the main challenges we faced was integrating Infoblox with that of VMware, so that VMware can automatically obtain IP addresses through Infoblox. This needed some bit of Ruby programming with integrating with Red Hat Cloud Forms and other technologies. I mean, there was a mix of Red Hat Satellite as well. we first of all brought our solution expert on Infoblox. So he provided the architecture, how all the IP addressing stuff would work. And then there was when integration was with Infoblox was being done, because of the inherent a bit of issues with NSX integration in the VMware technology. There was no default code, no default integration available with Infoblox. So then we needed the Ruby expert to write that Ruby program and in the background and test it, integrate all this within meeting the deadline. So within 2 weeks we got all this Ruby stuff sorted and
done, executed and deployed.
You get the skill. It's also about infrastructure. So you need to know very well the VMware DNS, IP networking, and so on. So
plus the client's infrastructure, because it will differ, Manoj. Every client will have their own environment. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Please, yes. Ano, another question. Would it matter if these servers are on cloud or on premises? The architecture will matter at this point?
So for initially, we had implemented this for on-premise VMware, but it was agnostic to if you put it on cloud. We did the knowledge transfer with under 6 months. And I know from later on being in touch with the people there that they later on extended it easily to the cloud as well, to AWS public cloud as well.
Nice. One of the things you mentioned in the case study was the knowledge transfer. It was one of the client's requirements. Yes. What do you mean by knowledge transfer?
So with knowledge transfer, I mean, initially what a user did for ordering the VMs was send an email to sysadmin. They would initiate everything. Now here we are presenting a whole together a new solution with the dashboard there to log in and do this. This will do the RBAC also, role-based access control for the user. User will log in themselves, specify what machines they need, but they need training for this. So how to train them on this self-service portal? We actually did. So client had a third-party offshore company who was handling the support. We did all this knowledge transfer to them, documented that on their internal LAN, and handed over to them, all seamless.
Very nice, very nice. Last question I have: what does this have? What business benefits would this have on the client? You talked about cost optimization, but in which sense? Tell me more details, please.
Yes. So the biggest business benefit they had that the time for provisioning, creating, orchestrating those machines reduced like tenfold. Earlier, it would take weeks to get one VM created and deploy. Hereby, imagine that user, instead of writing emails, create this server for me, do all the
waiting for someone to answer, approve. Okay.
They log into this dashboard and select, click next, 2 GB RAM, 50 GB hard drive, and next, and the server is ready in under half an hour.
Which means you also know which resources are allocated where, which servers are active, which are not. You can put down which are not active. This is also cost reduction.
Exactly. And so much time, resources, effort, energy are saved, because on the dashboard itself, it tells you if any of the hardware resources are going beyond capacity. So if you need to add more hypervisors to VMware, which in turn, manually, they had to refer a sheet, how this resource is running out, we should order a new one. But this self-service portal, they could tell just like from the desktop.
Easily, with just real-time data, I'm sure. Thank you, Manoj. Really.
It's just to summarize: less time, less effort, less rework, because avoiding error means no rework. So it's a lot of saving, cost saving.
Yeah. I imagine. Big difference between provisioning and orchestrating architecture. Yes. Thank you, Manoj. Grazie mille. Thank you for having us. And again, for all our viewers, you can check the case study on floatingpoint.soren.at anytime with more details. And of course, write to Manoj for more details if you're interested. Thank you, Manoj.
Thanks.
Bye, Manoj. Bye.
That's all, Luca, for me.
Thank you, Mohab. See you next time in this new episode. So thank you very much.